Is the window open and is the seat hot? And who's the latest player who got injured in the 49ers? Good evening. Welcome to a very special episode of Primetime Cohn Zone. That's Lowell Cohn. I'm Grant Cohn. The Niners had their 16th training camp practice of the offseason, and there were some highlights on the field today, but always, at least the last couple of years, the big news from camp is the next injury, the newest injury. And apparently it's Mac Jones, the backup quarterback, injured his knee against the Raiders, and that's why the 49ers signed Nate Sudfeld, a quarterback that they've released once before. So, Dad, what do you think of this latest injury?
Well, what's troubling is that it's a pattern. There's a pattern on the 49ers that every day somebody gets hurt. Now, you could say it's just a backup quarterback, but he's important because at some point, Brock Purdy's going to get hurt in the season. They all do. Nothing against Brock Purdy, and you need someone that the level won't fall really low like it did last season. Mac Jones is a good quarterback, Iggy. He's not as good as Brock Purdy. I watched Brock Purdy last weekend. He's really good. He's a pleasure to watch. Mm-hmm. Mac Jones isn't as good, but he's good enough for a backup. So now you said that Kyle said today he'll be ready for the first game.
Yes.
I'm going to believe him. I don't want to quibble with him. He says he'll be ready for the first game. That's good. But just in case he's not, would you please compare Mac Jones to Sudfeld in terms of ability as a quarterback?
Well, Mac Jones is a really interesting backup quarterback because just look at his resume real quick. He started 49 games in the NFL. He's 20-29, which isn't great for a starter, but for a backup, he has 20 wins under his belt. He's been to the playoffs. He went to a Pro Bowl in 2021. So that's a real resume. Nate Sudfeld has thrown 37 passes in the league. He's 31 years old. So he's a career backup who must be phenomenal in the meeting room. And I've seen him in practice. He's okay. He's very tall and he has a strong arm. But you don't want him to actually play in a game. And he's now an injury away from playing in a game unless Mac Jones really does come back by week 1. We'll see.
If Mac Jones comes back, what happens to Sudfeld?
I don't think Sudfeld is good enough to make the 53-man roster. He wasn't even in the NFL last year, and I don't think Carter Bradley's good enough either. So I think it's a competition between those two guys to see who ends up on the practice squad.
Okay.
And here's the thing. They don't pay a lot to be on the practice squad. So Carter Bradley could live with his dad, who's the assistant head coach on the team, and Nate Sudfeld is from Modesto. So maybe he's got some connections for a place to stay. Save him some money.
Who would you prefer if they choose one of those two for the practice squad? Who would you choose?
6'1", half dozen the other. Maybe Sudfeld. I don't know. Carter Bradley looked pretty bad in the preseason the last 2 games.
Okay. I would probably choose Carter Bradley just because he's young and has a future. But now we're talking about the third string, and that's not what we're here to do.
Neither one is the next Brock Purdy.
No, neither one is. Brock Purdy he does some things, Iggy, that are really special. And
certainly does.
Yeah. I mean, he's a hell of a quarterback. And luckily, they've played him so little in games that he's not hurt, and he hasn't gotten hurt in practices because I understand they don't do any tackling or hit the quarterback or anything like that. So, I mean, he's been protected, and he should be.
What's interesting about this whole story arc is that the Niners signed Sudfeld in 2021 to be the third string quarterback behind Jimmy and Trey, brought him back in 2022, gave him a couple $1 million guaranteed, and drafted Brock Purdy. And the reason they cut Sudfeld is because Purdy asserted himself and ended up being really good. Now he's back so we can back up Purdy. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah. And I never met the guy. He must understand that he's barely an NFL player. And he could go at any time. I mean, he has to know that.
Yeah. He understands the deal. I mean, he wasn't in the league last year, so the Niners are sort of giving him new life for a week or two. until he's on
Maybe
that
he should
practice.
go to for an MBA,
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, make
yeah,
other life plans. We all had to make life plans. 31, he's younger than you by 6 years.
yeah. Josh Rosen isn't in the NFL anymore. He was a first round pick. Now he works for like some. He's in business. I think
Yeah.
he went to law school. He went to Wharton. Smart guy.
What school?
Yeah, yeah. A Jew and a UCLA guy, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so let's stick with the topic of injuries. I think most people expect the Niners to go to the playoffs this year, just based on their schedule, purely based on their schedule. But we can't ignore the fact that the pattern of the offseason is Niners have a practice, guy goes down with injury. Niners have a game, guy goes down with injury. I mean, it's just been a pattern so far. So if this pattern continues and injuries are the theme of the year once again, and the Niners miss the playoffs, would the injury excuse let Shanahan off the hook this year like it did in years past?
Okay. I don't know what Jed York thinks. I haven't talked to him in 8 years. I know what I think, and so I'm giving my opinion. Okay, so let's say they don't make the playoffs, which is bad because they have a very good starting lineup. Let's say they don't make the playoffs, and a lot of people say, fans and also media, well, it's not Kyle's fault because once again, the poor guy suffered a lot of injuries, i.e., he's a victim. He's a victim.
It's misfortune. It's out of his control.
Out of his control, misfortune. I would even say that might be true. I'm not arguing that. What I would say, he's had a lot of misfortune last season and potentially this season. I would get rid of him, and I would want to have a coach who doesn't have misfortune. Yeah. Not every coach has. It's like he's pursued by the Furies in Greek tragedy. He can't get rid of it. The poor guy, his fate is to have misfortune. Okay, not his fault. Get somebody else who doesn't have misfortune. And I'll say something else. I don't know what's going on there. It may just be misfortune. It may be that something about his coaching style leads to injuries. I don't know. Or it may be that their training staff is of such a nature that it leads to injuries. I don't know. But let's say it's just bad luck. Too bad. You've had enough chances with bad luck. We want somebody else. And if that seems unfair, life is unfair. It's unfair for everybody. And if he gets let go because of bad luck, c'est la vie.
He was asked about this today, and he gave a pretty interesting answer. Let me read you the question and his answer. The question was, I know you're in the middle of it, but this is the second year with so many injuries in training camp. Did you take time to look at last year to try to avoid that? And are there any things that you could put your finger on why this is happening again? He says, I mean, it's stuff that we look into every year. We try to even look into it more after this year. But, we haven't been able to have the training camp that we normally want to have because of the injuries. It's not like they just all happened at 1 week. They happened pretty early with the number of guys and just the way our schedule's gone with our scrimmages, having these games, the off days and traveling. I don't feel like we've had enough of the training camp practice to say that we're going too hard. But obviously we have too many guys down. So we've got to look into all that stuff and figure out whatever we can do better. What do you think of that?
Here's what I think. The last part, we've got to look into it. He's had 8 seasons to look into it. We got to look into it now. And in other words, he's saying he doesn't have the answer at all, but they're going to look into it. When are they going to look into it? What does looking into it mean? How do you look into it?
This last year too? I mean, weren't they looking into it after this past season?
Yeah. I want somebody who's a better looker into. I want someone like that. I don't want someone says, "Oh, we'll get a commission together and we'll get experts and we'll talk to them and we'll figure it out." I don't know. Is Pete Carroll? Does he have all these injuries? Are they having him in Detroit? Are they having all these injuries? He's going to look into it. I think that's a vague way of saying, I don't have a clue. Don't ask me. I don't know what's going on. He's throwing his hands up, Iggy, and he's already making an excuse.
And I think it's more evidence for people who would say that he's merely a play caller whose scope of expertise is extremely narrow. It has to
I
do with
agree.
motion and X's and O's and how to beat cover three and a 5-man front. But it's not really about how to keep a team healthy, how to build a team, how to get a team ready for week one. I mean, the team never seems like they're ready for week one, and it seems like the preseason is September instead of August. So, I mean, that's just, more evidence for that.
Yeah, and Iggy, I want to say one other thing about coverage. I looked at some other people's podcasts, whatever the heck they are, and I'm seeing Pearsall had a great day, and Purdy threw some great passes, and Kittle's good. Sure, they're supposed to be good. That's not the news. Ira Miller always told me, Lowell, why is this day? It's like Passover. Why is this day different from all other days? It's not that Kittle was good. We know he's good. It's not that Brock Purdy's good. We know he's good. What was different today was that the backup quarterback went down, or we learned that he went down. That's the news item. Unless you're there just to say the team is wonderful. Even the coach isn't saying that. The coach is worried, and you're hearing it's one of the greatest practices ever, except now they have Nate Sudfeld. That's the news.
Can you
Iggy,
imagine
am
if
I
Ira
wrong?
were there? No, you're not wrong. Can you imagine if Ira were there and, this is 1987 or something, and Steve Young is the backup and he goes down and he goes and writes the story of the day is that Jerry Rice was good in practice? Can you imagine? We know.
I can tell you,
It's not
I
new.
don't think Ira.
Yeah.
I don't think Ira would have done that. No. And
No.
what's more, he would have gotten a quote from Steve. Steve would be afraid not to give him a quote.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's going to be tough for Kyle Shanahan to get the injury sympathy this year 9, and you had all offseason to figure something out. It seems like this is a mess that you created on your own. You can't fix it. I was in Vegas last week. I was thinking about this movie that applies to Kyle. I don't know if you remember it. It came out 22 years ago. It's starring William H. Macy. It's called The Cooler. And the concept is he's this guy who works for the casinos, and he has the worst luck. And just if he sits next to someone who's on a heater, that person all of a sudden gets bad luck and loses. So his job is to sit next to people who are on heaters, and just his general, bad luck in life rubs off on them. But then he falls in love with someone, he ends up getting good luck, and he loses what makes him special. So Kyle might be the cooler.
He might be the cooler. Yeah.
He might be the cooler.
In terms of injuries, because that's what we're talking about. Because I think he's a relatively good coach. But Iggy, I'm sorry. I've had it with his injuries. I've lost patience, and I'd say I'm bored with it. I don't want people to get injured, but I'm bored with the topic, and I'm bored with it's redundant. And the fact that he doesn't have a clue is, from my point of view, troubling. We're going to look into it. Oh, geez.
And it feels like a built-in excuse every year. Like either we'll be really good or the wheels will fall off and we'll have an excuse. It's not like we tried and didn't quite make it. It's that half the team was hurt, and so you can't judge us. But if you build a team full of injury-prone players and you have really short practices that don't build up the toughness and callous of the team, then maybe you're like sort of having a self-fulfilling prophecy here. Maybe you have an inherently fragile team that breaks down more. Maybe you have like what are those Italian cars that aren't so Alfa Romeo? Maybe you built an Alfa Romeo.
I love it. Maybe you built an Alfa Romeo.
Oh, it broke down again. What did you expect? It's not a Toyota.
When I used to cover a long, long time ago, Bill Walsh teams, George Seifert teams, these are great teams, Iggy. Mm-hmm. In training camp, they had morning and afternoon practices.
Yep.
And they were 3 hours apiece.
Yeah.
In the hot Rockland sun.
Mm-hmm.
They were hydrated. They had water there, and there was tackling. Mm-hmm. And one of the coaches told me, you have to do that because getting ready for football is different from other sports. You have to learn how to hit and be hit and get used to it. And I get the feeling, I don't know if this is the cause, I'm just saying, maybe there's not enough hitting on the 49ers. I don't remember Bill's teams getting massacred like this.
There is no hitting on the 49ers. When I've been doing this for 15 years. When Harbaugh was there would be all different types of hitting drills. they would have goal line live tackling. So it's a little bit more safe than in the middle of the field because no one has a big running start. But live tackling at the goal line, also one-on-one blitz pickup drills. That's pretty violent. That's a safety and a linebacker getting maybe a 10-yard running start into a running back or a tight end who has to block them one-on-one. They used to do that in every training camp. And oftentimes maybe one guy would get a concussion or one guy would get a stinger or one guy would mess up their shoulder. They don't ever do that anymore. Whereas teams like the Broncos and the Raiders with coaches who've been around for a while do those things. And I think have, at least better injury luck than the Niners.
So, Iggy, I'm coming back to Harbaugh because, I wasn't aware of that. So there was actually tackling and hitting in certain situations in his training camp.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll never forget the first training camp I ever covered, the first 11-on-11 period I ever covered. I didn't know what to expect. It was live tackling. And Anthony Dixon got the first carry, and he ran over Patrick Willis. He really hit Patrick Willis hard. He wasn't expecting him. And then he flexed over Patrick Willis, and there were fans there. And the team didn't like it. And instead of actually, starting a fight, they just did football justice, which was hand the ball to Anthony Dixon again and let everyone on the defense tee off on him. And then they benched him for the rest of practice. I'll never forget that. That was live tackling to start training camp. Let's kick this off right. That was 2011.
And that's Harbaugh's mentality.
Yeah. That team was ready to go.
Justice. Yeah.
Something to think about. Corey House says, Hawks fan, big fan of your work. Nemhauser thinks Seattle will keep Derek Young over MVS. I think MVS could be a target for SF. Yeah. Marquez Valdez-Scantling could be a target for SF, considering they might have to start Russell Gage or Robbie Chosen week 1. JM Garza says, has been a member for 44 months. Thank you very much. A.O. Hennessy says, having dinner at Applebee's, ask your dad who was his celebrity crush and who was the best actor from back in the days.
What does it mean, a celebrity crush?
Some girl that was a celebrity you had a crush on when you were younger.
I don't know. I mean, my favorite athlete was Sugar Ray Robinson because I was a boxing fan. I don't remember having a crush. But hold on. And what was the other question?
Who was the best actor from back in the days?
Okay, that's good. Well, I grew up with Marlon Brando and with Paul Newman. Those were pretty good actors.
It's true. JM Garza says, with Saleh here, is a Womack-like cut less likely? Keep the young DBs. Best Niners show on YouTube. Thank you both. Really enjoying Lowell's Substack.
Oh, bless you.
Yes, shout out to Lowell. Make sure you subscribe.
He posted for me.
JM Garza, Saleh was on the team when they cut DJ Reed, who ended up going to the Jets, who ended up getting coached by Saleh. So I don't know. Well, I'll do the best I can to help Saleh not make that mistake. The real Harvey Dent says, day 9 of asking Grant to see the Superman movie. Lowell, you should see it too. First Jewish and best Superman, just saying. Jewish Superman.
Jewish Superman, eh?
What do you think his kryptonite is? Bacon?
It's bacon. Pork chop.
Pork chop? Okay, so here's the thing. Niners have all these injuries, but Kyle Shanahan keeps saying, it's not ideal. We're not having the training camp that we'd like, but there's no season enders yet, and it's nothing too serious. The stars are still healthy. Christian McCaffrey hasn't played at all in training camp. Brock Purdy's healthy. Do you think it's realistic to expect the Niners to essentially keep the core of their team healthy and go on a run this year?
Is this the one we're asking? Is there Super Bowl?
No, that's
windows?
another one. We're talking about really how they're trying to save the stars, how they're trying to preserve these stars, and will it work?
Okay. I applaud Kyle for having kept his really essential players healthy and not using them a lot. I have no criticism of him for that. Purdy, McCaffrey, Bosa, Trent Williams, I think it's the right thing. And Iggy, do I think that when he plays them, they will be healthy for a large part of the season? Here's my answer. They can't keep anybody else healthy. Mm-mm. Why is he going to keep Trent Williams healthy? He
Hmm.
can't keep he can't keep his wide receivers healthy. He can't keep his running backs healthy. So what is to make me think that, oh, we're going to put our good guys there, McCaffrey, and he'll just play 17 wonderful games. Everybody seems to get hurt. I'm sorry. Every
Let's
day
just
the
recap real
news
quick.
is
Both guards are hurt right now. Ben Barch, Dominic Pooney hurt. The backup quarterback is hurt. Every running back except for Christian McCaffrey is hurt. And Brandon Ayuk has been hurt for a long time. He's coming back slowly. So other than that, they're doing a great job.
yeah. So when the season starts, they go out, they have all these players. You say, this is a hell of a team. And Iggy,
Yeah.
it's a hell of a team. They have real talent on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have the faith that that talent will be together all the time, because this is a team that gets its players hurt. I don't know why. Kyle doesn't know why, but I'm not hallucinating. It seems to be their pattern. So, Iggy, I'm not confident.
Okay, here's the core of the team, not counting Ayuk, who's not back yet. Trent, Christian, George, Brock, Bosa, Fred, Lenore. That's 7 guys. So Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Deommodore Lenore. If 2 of those guys aren't playing in a game the Niners play, if you take out 2 of those guys randomly, they might have a tough time winning. If they didn't have Lenore and George Kittle, they might lose to any team.
And
if they didn't have Bosa and Trent Williams, they might lose to any team.
Oh, God. If you don't have those 2 guys, you're in a lot of trouble. Yeah. Trent Williams is the most important.
Yeah.
He makes the whole run game go, and he protects Purdy. And he's really good. So I would say take him out. And they just one guy. And they're in a lot of trouble. Because Iggy, as far as I can tell, they don't have someone close to him that could take his place.
Not even close. And if Mac Jones isn't around, then Brock Purdy, they can't win without him. George Kittle, he's their number 1 receiver and their number 1 blocker, not named Trent Williams. He's pretty important. Christian McCaffrey is the only running back on the team. Geez, they have no margin for error. So, yeah, they have to keep these guys healthy, but, I mean, they haven't played much football. And it's like we were talking about a minute ago. You have to, I mean, this team, when they get to the preseason games, often looks like they haven't been hitting very much. And so when they get hit, they go. Patrick Taylor Jr. broke his shoulder in that game.
Poor guy.
Broke his shoulder. It's like just they're not quite ready for the contact. Now we're talking about future Hall of Famers that may be able to get themselves ready on their own because they've done it so much, but still scary.
Did we count Fred Warner in the essentials?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I mean, Brandon Ayuk still is one of the essentials as well, unless Ricky Pearsall becomes a consistent, excellent player. And you wonder how many games can the Niners win against, their divisional opponents before Ayuk comes back. They got 3 divisional games in the first 5 weeks.
Whoa. And last year they were 1-5 in the division, and they lost twice to Arizona, which is not a good outfit. And I don't like their quarterback at all. And they lost to them. That gives you pause. I love, the fullback said, we have all our core players back. So what?
So does Arizona.
What did that
so does Seattle.
Yeah,
so do the Rams. Yeah. And those teams all improved.
Yeah. And that's
when you
very
talk
good
about
point.
We have our core guys. Every team has a core. I don't understand that.
I like that you use the verb improved. I don't think the Niners improved. I think they have a very good starting lineup, offense and defense, but it's the same one. They haven't really improved, whereas I think, for example, Seattle has improved.
Mm-hmm. In fact, on paper, the Niners have gotten worse, and what they'd say is that, well, we didn't have a choice. We had to spend a lot of money to extend Purdy, Warner, Kittle. And so as a result, we had to let Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga go, some players we would prefer to keep. But we're great at drafting. We're great at developing. By week 13, we might be better than we were last year. But right away, it's going to take some lumps. So that brings us into our next topic. Are the Niners still in their Super Bowl window? They were in a Super Bowl about a year and a half ago. Last year, they thought they were firmly in it, and they made a bunch of win-now moves to sort of give themselves their best opportunity. They had injuries and misfortune. They were 6-11, and now is the window still open?
That's a key question, and I want to be very careful in how I answer it. If everybody is healthy, and if the kicker can really do it, I think this team could win a Super Bowl, Iggy. If everything goes right, I think they have the quarterback is good enough, the running back is good enough. I even think
the defensive coordinator.
I think they could win a Super Bowl. So that's in the best of all worlds.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the real world. If they have injuries, they won't make the playoffs. If they have significant injuries, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. But I can't predict that they will have those. They are good enough to win a Super Bowl. Where do you stand?
I think the window is closed. I think they could open it up this season, during the season. But for now, it's not enough, actually, I think, for those 7 players we've listed to stay healthy. They would need those 7 players, Trent, Christian, George, Brock, Bosa, Fred, and Lenore, to stay healthy, and Ricky Pearsall to play really well. 2 or 3 rookies to play really well. Jake Moody to play really well. They need more than just those 7 guys to stay healthy. And that's feels like a little bit too much to ask for. But who knows? Week 13, maybe you look up and these guys are healthy, and Nick Martin, the rookie linebacker, is really good. Upton Stout, the nickelback, is really good. Jake Moody has put it all together. And you think, well, actually, this is a team that could go all the way.
Iggy, I have a tricky question.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the answer, but I want you to think about it and answer it carefully. Do you think Kyle and Lynch think the Super Bowl window is still open?
I think they're nervous. I think they're afraid it's closed. And I think that's why they keep sort of preparing people for the season and talking about, hey, we're really excited about our team. Of course, we're going to take some lumps. Of course, it may not look great right away, but stick with us on this one. Bear with us here. I think they're sort of trying to give a positive spin to their anxieties.
I agree. I don't think they think the window is still open. I think they hope the window is still open. They've gone from being certain to being hopeful. Would you agree with that distinction?
And Kyle is the guy who's so realistic. He tells it like it is. He might say, you know what, this team isn't ready. We have way too many rookies that we need to be good. Maybe next year, because he went on Sirius XM radio last week and said, this team really reminds me of the 2017, 2018 version of the Niners that we were coaching. That was his first and second year coaching the team. That was when they went 6-10 and 4-12. So what he's saying is, look, we have some future Hall of Famers on this team, but the rest of the roster is as bad as it was when we first took over from Chip Kelly, which to me is, I'm not sympathetic to that. I'm sorry. You're in year 9. You put this roster together. You spent 3 first-round picks on Trey Lance. This is your fault.
Oh boy, do I agree with you. When he compares them to a rebuilding team, in your 9th year, that's the best you can do. You're rebuilding. I don't want you. I don't want your injuries, and I don't want your rebuilding. I want a coach who stands tall, who says, we're going to win this season. It's not a year, it's a season. We're going to win this season. And I know why we're going to win. These guys sound not only that they're hoping and are unsure, but they want the media and the fans to go easy on them. When Lynch says we're going to take our lumps, he's saying, be kind to me. See it from my point of view. Well, Iggy, when I was a columnist, why would I be kind to him? He has a job to do. He's supposed to produce a winner and a big winner. And if he can't do it, why does he earn my kindness? He doesn't earn bitchiness, but why do I have to take a stand for him? I take a stand for the team. If you can't do it, get somebody else. Don't tell me the lumps you're going to take. Don't tell me this is the training camp, you wanted. You should have had the training camp you wanted, and you shouldn't be taking lumps. Don't ask me to have pity for you. I think here's the thing, Iggy. From my point of view, it's disgusting when people in those positions ask for pity. I don't want to give pity. It's disgusting. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, you have the cushiest job in the world. You get millions of dollars to like oversee this game. Do it better. Or let someone else do it better. What are you talking about? This isn't a lifetime job here. You've already had it for 2 presidential terms and a half. Get out of here.
That's how
there
I
should
feel.
be term limits with these coaches. You should be 4 years and you're out. Unless you win a Super Bowl, then you get 8, and then you're out.
You know, when Lynch was playing strong safety, Iggy, and he saw a guy coming up the field, you think he had pity on him?
No.
He was a ruthless. I mean, to his credit, he was a ruthless player. I'm a ruthless analyst. I'm a ruthless critic. Don't ask me for pity. Forget it. It even turns me off.
I got something else to say. So they're asking for pity. They're preparing us for the worst. And we talk about how it turns us off. As analysts, of course, it's going to turn fans off. Especially, I mean, you're not lowering ticket prices, so this isn't making fans happy or season ticket holders happy. But what about the players on the Nick Bosa feels? How do you think Trent Williams and George Kittle feel when they hear this might not be our year? We might be playing for 2026.
I think it must make them very angry because there are limited years in their careers, and they're excellent athletes, and they're proud. They're proud, and we're supposed to go through the motions, which some people are learning. Put me on a place that can win. Put me on a team that can win.
Nick Bosa's brother, Joey Bosa, plays for Buffalo. He just signed for him this year. He gets to go be on a Super Bowl contender. You don't think Nick wants to do that?
Yeah.
Trent Williams, 37 years old. He's busting his ass, actually practicing in camp so they could go 8-9. What the fuck?
Just saying. Listen, you're just saying.
Because I'm 37. I know what it feels like. You know what I mean?
To be 37?
To be 37, not to be a world-class left tackle. I don't know what that feels like.
You said I would like him if I was covering the team. That you
would like him. He honestly should win the Niver Award every year. It's not even close.
Okay.
I just want to say he's always available and he's always very open. He doesn't give up at all about what the team might think of what he has to say. He's not one of those kind of guys because what are they going to do? Not have him play left tackle? They have to recruit him to come back every year. Hey, Trent, you still want to play football? What do you think? It's pretty nice. Come on. Sure. Okay. Sounds good. Lamont says, Grant, I told you Mac was holding his knee after a play. No one was talking about it, but Kyle Shanahan will have Purdy in same looks and get him hurt again. Shake my head. Well, I hope not.
I hope not, but I'm not confident that Purdy is going to play 17 games. I mean, they all get hurt. It's a violent game.
Yeah. Who will play 17 games on this team? Well, look, my dad and I have been talking about eating better recently because, sometimes you can get in the habit of ordering out, getting a little bit of pizza, getting a little bit of spaghetti with the polpetti, which is really good. But if you're looking to save a little bit of money, eat a little bit better, check out Factor. Their meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond, which was, look at us, couple of active cones. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your summer gains and goals. Choose from options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Get started at factormeals.com/Cohn50off and use code Cohn50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code Cohn50off at factormeals.com/Cohn50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/Cohn50off. So when you eat healthier this fall, this summer, thank the Cohn Zone. All right, Dad. This is a big week.
Hold on.
Yes.
How do you spell Cohn50 off? How do you do it?
COHN50OFF. That's COHN50OFF.
All one word?
All one word.
Okay. I just wanted to make
Dad.
sure of that.
I appreciate you. Factor appreciate you too. You're the Factor. Dad, Harbaugh's coming to town. Trey Lance is coming to town. It's just a preseason game. But sometimes, they talk about athletes and coaches with the chip. There's a chip on the shoulder. I don't know what the chip looks like or how it got there or how heavy it is, but they got some personal things going on. And it's just good storylines all around. Are you rooting for Trey in particular? And are you interested to see what Harbaugh's doing with that team?
Okay, let's do Trey first. I am absolutely rooting for Trey Lance. It doesn't mean I'm against the 49ers. This is a preseason game. It doesn't matter what the score is. My heart goes out to this kid, Iggy. I would like to see him have a good game and to show he's an NFL quarterback because he got a rough deal as a very young man. Me, I would have been crying or I would have been in the fetal position in my bedroom on the floor. I think the Niners made a terrible mistake in drafting him so high and giving up all those draft choices for him. The expectations were too much to put on that kid. And Kyle, in particular, did not know how to bring him along. He knows how to bring other people along, Purdy, Mac Jones, but he doesn't know how to didn't know how to bring this kid along. And this kid suffered. We all suffer, Iggy. You can't go through life and not suffer. And my heart goes out to him. He suffered when he didn't have to, when he could have been buoyed up. And I think he felt odd man out in that locker room. I think when Juszczyk, if I'm wrong, please correct me, when Lance got hurt and they were going to now play Jimmy, didn't Juszczyk go say we're going back to 49er football? Something along that line?
Yeah, it's really nice to be back, to have 49er football back.
Yeah, meaning not I'm sorry that my teammate went down, although he may have said it, but the message was, I'm glad he's out of the way because we can go back to Jimmy. I think that was, Iggy, that was very bad. It's not the only bad thing that Juszczyk has done. He's strikes me as sometimes being tone deaf. But I really, so for as long as this guy plays in the game on Saturday, yeah, sure, I'm rooting for him. I'm also rooting for the 49ers defense, but I hope he shows well. I hope he shows well, and my heart is with him. How do you feel?
Same. And I think one of the reasons he's a sympathetic figure is because it was so clear early on that the Niners were the wrong team for him and that Kyle Shanahan was the wrong coach for him because he was a project like Steve Young, like Alex Smith, a lot of really good quarterbacks. I'm not saying Trey will be a really good quarterback, but a lot of really good quarterbacks aren't really good right away. They take some time. And with Kyle, it seems like he doesn't have the patience. He either finds a quarterback who gets his system right away and has instant success, or he's still looking for that guy. And with Brock Purdy, instant success, and it worked. And so you understand moving on from Trey Lance, but it's nice to see Jim Harbaugh take a different approach with Trey and coach him the way you would have hoped that Kyle would have coached him. I think there's a big difference in what Kyle asks his quarterbacks to do from what Harbaugh asks his quarterbacks to do.
Explain the difference.
Well, with Kyle, I think he's basically, can you run my system the way I want you to run it? And I'm going to ask you to make certain throws, and some of them might be risky. And if you throw an interception, that's your fault. And I'm going to look for someone who can make the throw. And fortunately for Kyle, Brock Purdy can basically do what he wants him to do, but he's not trying to develop Brock into being something more than he was when he was a rookie. With Harbaugh, he doesn't really have a system that you need to execute. I think his whole thing is he was a first-round pick who was deemed a bust because you're trying to do too much and make plays for a team that isn't good. So he comes in and says, all right, man, you were the third pick in the draft. You were the first pick in the draft. You've made all these mistakes trying to justify your draft position. You're going to stop making mistakes. First thing, I don't care what your completion percentage is. You're going to stop throwing interceptions. You're going to stop being the reason we lose games. And once you just start winning, whether you're the reason we won or not, just not being the reason we lose is going to build confidence. And slowly, you're going to start to believe in yourself because you're going to be a winning quarterback. That's what he does every time. And it's nice to see him slowly do that with Trey, just like he did for Alex Smith.
And you can see before I watched one game where Trey was playing. I think he started Iggy,
Mhm.
and Harbaugh was on the sideline with him, hitting him in his shoulder pads and pumping him up. And to a kid who feels like a failure, who feels like a mistake, that must feel really good when the coach does that. And I wish that Kyle had done that with him, given
With
him
Kyle, it
that
always felt
confidence.
like he was saying, "Well, whatever Trey did, well, the ball didn't come out on fast enough, or the ball placement wasn't quite right, or whatever he did, it wasn't quite right." I think with Harbaugh, what he's saying when he does that stuff is, "I'm in this with you. I want you to do well. I'm not the the backseat driver nitpicking every single decision you make until you should have thrown over here, you should have got rid of the ball, you should have scrambled, you should have done this. No, man, I want you to be good. And if you didn't throw a pick on this play, great. We live to play another down. You won this preseason game, great. That's a big step up for you. That's what you want from a mentor."
Yeah, and that's what this kid didn't have. Now, again, I don't think Purdy needs it. I
No.
think Purdy is self sufficient, and it's one of his strengths, Iggy.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter. He doesn't need psychological hand holding from Kyle because Kyle doesn't do it. But the other kid apparently does. I do. So I understand people like that. Iggy, if you don't mind, could you one more time tell the story of what Trey Lance said to you in the locker room when he and the context? Because I think it's
Don't
extremely
remember the
revealing.
exact quote. I could go back and look at. I remember I said it on a live stream, but it was his final preseason game with the 49ers. They had just traded him to the Cowboys. They had announced it. I think he had a good preseason game. No, they hadn't announced it yet. It was his final preseason game. He had a good game.
Yeah,
He let it come back. And I went up to him in the locker room, and he came over to me and he said, um, "I appreciate you, Grant. Thanks for everything." And that was it.
but
Am I
as
wrong?
I well, as I think the quote is correct, but I don't think you went up to him. I
You know,
think you
to
were
me,
standing somewhere and he walked by
walked
you.
by. Yeah,
He walked by, but he didn't want anyone to hear or to
yeah,
see him talking to you, so
it's
he
true.
whispered it and kept walking
In passing, yes.
in passing. He
Yeah,
wanted you to know, but he didn't want anybody else to know
that's correct.
what he
That's
said.
correct. Yeah,
And so it showed he felt of everybody in that group, media, the team, you had been open minded and fair minded and maybe even generous. And he wanted you to know that, but he didn't want the locker room to know that he felt that. So, Mike, I find it again very touching and it makes me like him. Why do you think he didn't want anyone else to know he said that?
well, I mean, it wasn't long after the Kinlaw thing. Also, I think he was still on the team at that point. And if you are nice to me, it might indicate that like what you don't want to be on the team, or
Ah,
I don't know.
right.
I mean, I'm not
So,
exactly. Yeah,
so it might have been a Grant, sorry, a Grant Cohn thing that he didn't
yeah.
want the other people to know that he appreciated you in some way.
I'm already in bad
Th-
standing on this team for whatever reason. All the team needs to see is me talking to Grant. Now I'm really screwed.
Got it. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah, and the other half of it is I don't feel part of the group.
right.
This will only alienate me more.
Correct.
I don't feel that they're rooting for me. Iggy, when he got knocked down sometimes in games, did the offensive linemen did they not help him up?
Yeah, that was Mike McGlinchey. It was Trent Williams. Yeah, they just walked. He would get sacked, and they would just run off the field. Like, we're not
Yeah, where
helping you.
ordinarily you would help a guy up. Can you
Yeah.
imagine what it must have felt like to him to be lying there and to see these guys ignoring him and not having any concern for him? Wow.
Can you
And these are
imagine Harbaugh letting that happen on his team?
I don't think so. I don't
I don't
think,
think
and
so.
I don't think Bill would
That's
let
our
that happen to him.
quarterback. You pick him up, and if you don't, I'll find someone who will. Like, you can't let the team anyway. Anyway, Harbaugh.
Anyway,
I enjoy him. He's a real leader. He's a real man's man.
So, but again, I'm just coming back to the kid. I think he wasn't treated well. That doesn't mean he's a good quarterback.
Nope.
I still don't know.
Nope.
But I admit I don't get emotionally involved, but I guess in this one case I am. I hope he turns out to be good enough.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got nothing but time. He's Justin Herbert's backup. Herbert's going to be the starter there for another 15 years. I mean, he can go real slow. It kind of reminds me of the Steve Young experiment. He played a lot with Tampa. He was utterly awful, and then he sat for a long time and worked with Bill Walsh for a long time, and eventually was great. I don't know if Trey Lance will eventually be great, but he's got time to build himself back up from the bottom in terms of his confidence and his entire game. And it seems like just watching, it'll be fun to watch him in this game, but so far you're seeing him, he's gotten some confidence running the ball. They're not calling runs for him, but he's being decisive scrambling. And he had 2 incredible throws deep down the sideline, which is something that he can do. He's never going to be that precise throwing over the middle. He's not quite accurate enough for it, but throwing deep, he can do that. So do it.
Iggy, I'm going to move on to Harbaugh. Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Do you think for him this is any preseason game, or for him there's an extra added spice?
That's what makes Harbaugh so great, is that he's crazy enough to feel like this matters to him, this game. Now, not like winning the game, but making some kind of a statement.
That's how I read him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And who would he want to be making the statement to?
Jed. I don't think he has anything personally against Kyle for taking the job. I think he has something personally against Jim Tomsula for replacing him, but I don't think he has anything against Kyle or John Lynch. Although I think he would enjoy Kyle Shanahan not doing well so that everyone would miss him.
Yeah, that's how I read him. And I think even though when he and Jed bump into each other in public, they smile and shake hands, they may even hug. I don't think, again, I haven't talked to Jim about it. He doesn't strike me as a guy who would let go of grudges.
No, absolutely not. He wants to prove that Jed was wrong to push him out. Wants to prove it. And I think he probably feels that, Jed went with the younger guy who's kind of the flavor of the month, who's very impressive and dazzling and puts together a team with interesting highlights and cool stats, but isn't half the real coach that Jim Harbaugh is. And he would like the record to show that at some point in history, and probably will at some point, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so I'm going to watch this game. It's Saturday night. I'm going to stay home and watch the game, even though it's just an exhibition game. There are so many subplots. It's like a melodrama or soap opera. There are so many subplots. I really want to watch it.
There's so many things that Kyle Shanahan that is out of his control this year that could make him look bad. If Trey Lance ever plays because Justin Herbert gets hurt and wins, that would make Kyle look bad. There's another thing. I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday the Commanders had a preseason game against the Bengals. And first time they give the ball to Deebo Samuel, it's on one of those jet sweeps, and he gains 19 yards. And he looks good. He looks like the Deebo Samuel for a couple of years ago. Now it's just a preseason game, but their coach, Dan Quinn, is, a serious coach who holds players accountable and gets the best out of players. If Deebo plays and is in shape and does all the things that he wouldn't do for the Niners the last 2 years for Dan Quinn and the Commanders, that makes Kyle look bad, because Deebo was toxic last year. Not only was he not good, he was a problem. If he goes to Washington and he's good, that's bad for Kyle. Just saying. It hasn't happened yet, though.
No. And again, I'm saying Kyle can win the Super Bowl. And if he does, I'd like to end on this. If Kyle wins the Super Bowl with all the things he's faced in preseason, and if he rallies and wins the Super Bowl, I will have a whole other impression of him, Iggy. I would celebrate him.
Absolutely.
But it's all ahead of us, and we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know, but it's all ahead of us. And Kyle, if you're not watching, but I'm going to pretend you are, it's all there for you to win. Forget the injuries, forget the excuses. I think your attitude should be, I haven't lost any games yet. I can win this thing, and I'm going to, and I'm going to show everybody. That's what your attitude should be. It's what Bill Walsh's attitude would have been.
That's right, Kyle. Let's see what you got. Lamont 757 says he doesn't believe in you. He says Kyle Shanahan is not a head coach and a questionable OC at best. Bears, Vikings, Rams, etc. have better schemes, even if it originated from Kyle Shanahan, which he got from his dad. Then Lamont says Kyle Shanahan without his name would have been fired long ago. He's not a leader and he doesn't even know the rules. Lost 3 Super Bowls as an OC. Is he really that guy? Jameer says Marath says Leeds are going to spend every dollar available they can. I'm a Leeds and Niners fan from Iceland. Tired of Kyle. Bring me Salah as head coach from Iceland.
Iggy, you've been to Iceland.
I've been to Iceland. I was there 19 years ago in 2006. I was there for a week in June. The sun never went down. It was unsettling, but all the Icelandic people were very nice to me. I had a friend who went to middle school with me named Erlendur, who was a great host. Yeah, good time. Called him Ice because Zoolander came out when when we were in middle school, so we called him Icelander and then Zoolander because what are we gonna do? It's the best we could do. Also, I feel like people in Iceland, maybe it's a non-American thing, but they talk louder. It's kind of a Germanic language, and they shout in each other's faces. Have you ever noticed how you go to people just talk louder in other countries? Like, man, you're right there.
I haven't been to other countries in a while.
Like, wow. Okay. Hog says hard to play for someone who doesn't believe in you. That's true.
Oh,
it's true. Envix Media says, on another note, the NFL Plus app is terrible. Well, on another note, we're out of stuff to talk about, Dad. Has it been our best show of all time?
Oh, Iggy, it was classic.
Classic. It was classic us, wasn't
it? Classic us. I love you, Iggy.
I love you too, Dad. Time to go eat dinner at Brian's house. So, yeah, Brian, if you're watching, we'll see you soon. Everyone, thanks for watching. Camp tomorrow and Thursday. So stay tuned. We got 2 more days of camp.